Good morning, everyone. Thanks for tuning in as always. Now, make sure you hit that subscribe button in the corner in order to get video content and so on. Now, I'm going to talk about what is coming up for this week's energy report. So, from May 29th to June 6th, what can we expect every day? How do we work through it? And so on. Now, I want to also ask you guys. Um, are you enjoying when I use cards at all? Like I use certain cards as well to help you out what the collective messages are from the universe. And I mean, like some of you, of course, will not connect with that because when I put a card down, not everybody's going to say, well, I don't see that or feel. Of course not. Of course not, right? However, I do get a lot of messages coming and saying, wow, that really connected with me, and so on and so on. So you have to go on what is going on for you. We all experience different things, of course, you know, but this week, you're going to see why it's important to no longer hold back. We have, this Chiron energy as well. And Chiron energy is that old wounded healer. So you're going to find that especially on June the 1st, as Venus conjuncts with Chiron, this is all connected with Venus and that relationships, romantic relationships and so on. So some of you very well could have a little bit of a more emotional day as you're going to be reflecting back onto previous relationships. You're going to, like, what did I learn from that? Why did this happen? And so on. And it's also a day where your heart is going to start expanding even more. So you might find that, wow, like the person that I'm with, my heart's really expanding. My heart is really opening. Like, don't push your heart to close. We all have been hurt. We all have been betrayed and cheated on and so on in our past relationships. And the relationships that we've had in the past, it can actually bring you to your true love, the person who you're truly meant to be with. So this is why we go through rocky relationships. Like, oh my God, Jenny, my divorce and oh boy, like what I learned from this past relationship. Oh my God, it was horrific. We all go through that. I mean, I've divorced myself. I've been divorced. Oh my God, 1991, 1992. I haven't remarried. Who knows if that will ever happen? Again, I'm not worried about it. However, what's more important is where are you now today? Like, what have you really learned from your past relationships? We go through toxic relationships, we go through karmic relationships, and there's also soulmate and twin flame relationships. You will know more so who your person is. Your soulmate is like your other half, and they will bring out the best of you. They will help bring out the best of you to help you. We can have soulmates with friends or animals and so on, like our soul tribes, like I have different people around this planet that I connect with who I consider to be my true soul tribes. It doesn't mean I talk to them every day. It doesn't even mean that I have met them in person. However, you're going to feel that, wow, I really like this person. I feel really comfortable with this person. They accept me unconditionally and so on. Do you know what I mean? It's like more of that support. And we're going to have our good and bad days with relationships. Of course we are. That's relationships. It takes two people to make a relationship work, not just one. And this is the time as well with this Chiron energy. Some of you might have ended something with that new moon. So this is why go back and watch these other videos. That new moon in Gemini, the 26th, 27th, and 28th of May, really pay attention to what incoming messages were happening. Like if I told you what happened to me on those days, and I'm like, oh my God, like I'm like, wow, I got goosebumps because the messages that came in for me, especially on that new moon, I'm like, I'm so grateful. I'm so truly grateful. So certain messages, like really pay attention to how, they affected you, what was said, and especially If you are seeing toxic traits in a relationship, for instance, or friendship or whoever, really pay attention. So during this Chiron energy on the 1st of June, you might be healing from if you've ended a relationship still, and it's also going to trigger family. When you were a child, teenage years, a young adult, how many of you have had past memories come up and you're like, oh my gosh, why did those memory, like, why did that memory come up? Well, like, I wasn't thinking of that. Your soul purposely does this on purpose to help you heal and work through that even more. I mean, I was even getting a little emotional again about my dog Bella, who had passed on. You know what I mean? But it just shows you when there's love, you know, love can bring a lot of pain, whenever somebody passes on or whenever, we've been betrayed or hurt, but it can also bring its rewards and joy and love. I'm never going to have another relationship again. Like, oh my gosh, we do go through that. However, when there's love presented to us, there's always a risk. It doesn't mean it's going to work out. People from your past life come back, to push you karmically and twin flame. That's why I do past life Akashic records reading as well for everything. This is why this person's in your life. This is what's going to happen. This is why, with a lot of details. And then it's up to you, of course, to make these decisions of what direction you want to go. So a lot of these kinds of memories and things are going to be coming up for you. Even reflect back to 2007, 2008. Did you start a relationship, more relationship connected? Did you end a relationship? And so on. Really look back around that time, because certain people, let's say, for instance, that you've met back then or started a relationship with, you could be finding, I don't connect with them anymore. And it could be a friend, it could be, a romantic relationship, anything like that. So, and even 2007, 2008, maybe that person you had your eye on, maybe all of a sudden they're single now, or you're getting married. There's a lot going on. So this is why it's like we all are going through different things, but just during this time, show yourself more compassion. There's a lot of old wounds, as I mentioned, coming up and back to the surface for you to truly, truly work on. Like just really let it go and so on. Like, God, we're already in June. Like, oh my gosh. May 29th to the 31st. I mean, May 29th for me personally is when I had to put my Irish Wolfhound McTavish down back in 2014. He's still very much with me. I get messages from him all the time in so many profound ways, So this is the thing. You might have memories from your animals that have passed on, from different people, from memories and so on. So of course I have a little, candle lit for him today, and I'm an animal communicator as well. So I connect with my animals who have passed on and so on. Even the new ones that are coming around me, I can see them before they were even born, right? So there's a lot of different energies going on, and you're going to be healing the 29th to the 31st, letting go even more. You're going to also be decluttering. Decluttering the mind is what's most important. You could be like, wow, I want to like declutter my environment, my vehicle. Maybe your car is like, wow, I got like garbage in here, or maybe I just need to give it a dusting or, put that Armor All or whatever it is to clean my vehicle out, right? Decluttering, donating things, like just, no, I don't want to do that. All of this energy is going on this time this week as well. So you're going to see even more clarity. And if you notice, if you really pay attention, you're going to see how things are coming together even more synchronicity. But when you go through all of this stuff, it can be really hard to say, I don't know, I don't see how. This is the time when you're like, okay, let's just pause right now. Look back and see where things were going. Beginning of this year, let's say, let's take it back to January 1st. What's going on now today? Are you seeing reality? Are you seeing where you are now today and why things have ended? Why new doors have suddenly opened? Because the energy for even, like last week, because I watched the videos, you'll see, right? The energy, especially from the 26th and so on this week, from last week, what happened and was shown to you, even more so, more with that 26th, 27th, and 28th messages that have been incoming. It's showing you where your future is taking you to. New doors are opening up. We might not see the whole picture, of course, with, but it's like that new moon was more about trusting your heart with faith, letting go. I've done something myself and I'm like, oh my God, I can't do this. But it's like, you cannot afford not to do this because it can open up that new direction for you. It can expand and so on and so on. So I took the risk, and as soon as I did, I actually felt really better. So you can't worry about all of these other things of what can go wrong and all. Don't go there. You're getting tested your faith to trust. So this new direction that is opening up for you, especially creatively wise, what are you drawn to do? Where were you getting triggered to? I want to start this. So this is moving into the rest of this year for you and even for more years to come and so on. Because what seeds you're even planting this year specifically, you're going to see that coming into more fruition in 2027. Go back and watch even my prediction video because what I predicted for this year's events has already happened and is currently happening now. So, this is a year for more long-term goals. Even what I'm getting myself into right now, what I'm going to be doing, it very well is more of a long-term goal, but it's like I have to jump into this now to see if that is going to be the right fit for me, if that is the right direction for me to move into, and so on and so on and so on. And the only way you're going to find out is to do it because you're going to be like, you know what, that's just not going to work. Or, wow, that can really open up new doors. So don't hold back. Like, really don't hold back this week. Really speak from your heart. Really go after your dreams, set plans. Like this is the time to be taking certain risks. Like, don't take certain risks, like to jump out of a plane and go bungee jumping, unless you want to. But you know what I'm saying? That Aries energy and entwinement, you know, gives you that opportunity to make more bold decisions, more risks. That's exactly what I did myself, right? So certain decisions you made that were more bold, you're going to see how things are moving forward. 29th to 31st, you're still going to be speaking up more truth, about what you want. And you're going to be saying, I thought I wanted this or that, but I really don't want that anymore. This is a part of your journey of self-discovery because what you thought you once wanted is now fading. Wow, I really thought I wanted this, but it's just not my heart anymore. It's just no matter what it was, this is how you learn. We all change, we all evolve. Don't suppress. Don't worry about how things are going to come together. I mean, you can always book a reading with me, of course, to get more clarity. However, just don't worry about it as much of how am I going to do this and that. One step forward every day. What you do on a day-to-day basis will determine your future. And the only way you're going to see that is to take certain steps forward by taking certain, risks and such like that. You got to go in your own comfort zone. You're not the same person as what you once were. Look how far you've changed. How many of you can see just how far you've come by changing? And it very well could be anything, your mindset, like anything. Really reflect back on that. Really do that. You will start to see, more reality and things. And this is the time to not rush or push, 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 push. I want this to happen right now. Like if this doesn't happen right now, that's it. I've talked to people, but that new moon energy, of course, can make us get more emotional. Well, if they're not doing this or that, then screw that. Right? But don't rush anything. Don't push, 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 force. Just continue to work on your plans and like, what, universe, I've said what I had to say, or I sent that message, or I applied for that job, or I've done this and this. And now I have to allow things to naturally unfold. If that's the right direction for me, no matter what direction, it's naturally going to happen and new doors are going to open. That's that trust and that faith. I channel and work with the Christ consciousness myself. So, with me, I do things, I work towards my goals and dreams and all of that, and then I surrender it completely. I don't attach to anything at all. I work towards things, and it's like, that's not the right path. It's going to be shown to me. I will ask spirit, show me the red flags, not the positive, what's the red flags in this direction or relationship or no matter what it was or is. That's important. That's important. For me, it is. I'd rather see the red flags to say, you know what, thank you, Spirit. I'm grateful for these messages. And then when you see that, then you can be like, you know what, this isn't the right person, relationship, direction, job, whatever it is. You have to trust that. Sometimes we have to jump into it, discover that, oh my God, that was the worst mistake. There's no mistakes. Don't be hard on yourself, for goodness sakes. That's how you learn. Boy, I wished I didn't this and I wished I didn't that. I regret what I said or did or whatever, whatever. Wait, don't be hard on yourself. These are our life lessons. You know what I mean? I'm really hard on myself. I always have been. And then I'm like, okay, Jenny, just settle down. Right? Of course, of course. I talk to spirit 24/7. If y'all saw me, you'd be like, is she talking to herself? Like, what's going on? I have conversations all the time. 3 a.m. I wake up and I'm like, really? Put me back to sleep. Enough of this. You want to talk to me? Talk to me in my hours. It's hilarious. It really is. If y'all could see that. But anyways, so June 1st to 3rd, you are going to be reflecting back a lot more onto May. What did you learn from it? You're going to be revamping things, retweaking things, moving forward, getting plans together. What plans are you making? What plans are you putting together for the summertime or the winter, wherever you guys are? What do you want to do? You could be booking flights. You could be like booking appointments to get renovations done in your home, like no matter what it is, and this is the time when you have to, of course, always follow your passions, because when you follow your passions, no matter what it is for you personally, things really open up for you. Things really start to change. New doors open up. And that's your soul saying, hey, we want you to, work on this or take that class or to write that book or to book that trip, like no matter what it is, right? Your passions is who you are. What I'm passionate about. Somebody might say, oh my God, no, I have no interest. Well, of course not, because you're not me. Where somebody says, well, I want to do that. I might have no interest in that, but I'm not going to put that down. That's that person. Oh yeah, I'm going to like work on my vehicle. I'm going to like strip it. I'm going to like, and I'm like, great. I mean, I'm not a car mechanic. So, I mean, I'm not passionate about that at all. I take my car to the dealership, right? But some people, that's their passion. That's just who they are, right? So you're going to have more of that sense that, things are actually moving forward now. I'm trusting, I'm in faith, especially when you listen to your heart. Listen to your head, of course, but listen to your heart where it's guiding you towards. Because June 4th and 6th, you're going to find you could be a lot more creative. Really pay attention to what ideas you hear. If it's, well, I'm going to apply for that job or I'm going to work on my project now. Start these projects now. Or maybe some of you guys are going to be retweaking your projects or, yeah, that's what I want to do. Listen to your gut, listen to your soul. That's your gut instinct, your soul, your inner guru, your inner GPS. You're going to get more in tune. You could be a lot more, like intuitive during this time as well. And I'm also hearing like love letters. I don't know why. I get messages 24/7. I never know when, but if I'm doing these videos and I'm hearing messages, I will say it. So of course, not all of you guys will connect with that. So I'm actually hearing Romeo and Juliet love letters. Love letters. Maybe some of you are going to get some incoming love confessions. Maybe some of you are like, I want to, like send my person that love letter, love message, because as that Venus, like I'm saying, that Venus of Chiron, you very well might, like send your person a letter that you want to end things. Sometimes people are like, I don't want to talk to my person. I'm too scared. I just can't. Some people have can't even say, I love you. So sometimes it's easier to write it down. So maybe some of you are going to be confessing your feelings towards your partner. or you're like, you know what, I have to talk to my partner about all of these things that I'm not happy with. So I'm going to give them the letter instead. So you will know what direction you're on. And just really, really, listen to your body during this time. You might find that, yeah, I really need to move my body around more. Tension can be held in your body, your neck, your back, like headaches, all of these things. Move your body around, even if you go for a walk, or do a workout or whatever like that. You need to shake the energy up. You're going to find that you're going to be a lot more forgiving of yourself for certain mistakes that you feel that you have done, regrets. We all have regrets, as I mentioned. What we've said or done, that's how we learn. You might be like, you know what, I just really want to forgive my friend, my person, whoever it is. It's better to forgive them. You don't have to say, it was perfectly fine what you did to me. Of course not. No. However, so you can move on, you can forgive. I've forgiven a lot of many, different people, but there's one person who I will not ever forgive. Maybe years goes on, I might be able to forgive that person, but I doubt that. However, sometimes we just can't. We just can't for just personal reasons, right? So this is the time, as I mentioned, that when you really want to speak up to your person or to a friend or whoever it is, have that heart to heart conversation. It's like, gosh, I'm holding on, I'm suppressing all of this. Because when you suppress your emotions towards everything, it creates these roadblocks for you, especially in your body. Like your body, it's like it creates fears, and whenever we go into that fear zone, we get triggered. Whenever we get triggered, our nervous system freezes up to, oh my God, I can't. And how many of you just freeze? Like, we go into that numb state of mind and it can bring on panic attacks, and this is the time where you need to really love yourself a little bit more right now. Show yourself more compassion, because sometimes all you need is just a break from people and situations and routines. You just do to rejuvenize yourself, right? We just need that at times. Set some boundaries. No, I'm not, able to do this for you, maybe another time or whatever, all of those things. So really pay attention to this week, you guys, like especially with a lot of different healings going on. So I'm just going to pull a couple of cards, just to see. And I'm going to be pulling the cards from the Romance Angels by Doreen Virtue, because as I mentioned, we have that Venus energy in with Chiron. So it's more about healing your inner wounds yourself from, relationships, like triggering from our past. God, why did I have that memory of somebody I dated like 30 years ago, let's just say, right? Things like that. Look back on what you learned from that, because it's not going to be like a good memory, let's say. It's going to be a memory that where you got hurt or felt betrayed, right? And it's just your soul saying, okay, release it, heal. What did you learn? Don't be hard on yourself. We have to go through certain relationships that are difficult to bring us to where we are today to find the right person, right? So hang in there, right? So what's the energy from the angels from the 29th to June the 6th? June, oh my gosh, right? What's the message from our angelic romance angels? You deserve love. You deserve love. Of course you do. Of course you do. You're lovable. Start writing down, if you guys are looking for a partner, the qualities you're looking for. Be very specific and detailed to what qualities you're wanting. And you do deserve love. You really do. Yeah, but Jenny, I just, I get that. We all have those, I know. We all have those moments. We've all been hurt and betrayed, of course. You do deserve love, but you need to love yourself first unconditionally. Yeah, but Jenny, I don't like my hair. I don't like my body. I don't like, we all go through that. We all go through that. There, believe me, I could go on about different parts of my body and I'm like, oh my God, no. Right? We all do that. and where somebody could be looking at you, like, are you crazy? What's wrong with you? You're gorgeous, you're beautiful, or you're handsome, you're good looking. Like what? We all see ourselves, we all see our own flaws. You have to start loving yourself as is, as it's. And if somebody starts judging you, oh my God, well, I'm not attracted to you. Well, how does that affect me? It won't. You're just not my person. That's all. Do what you think you're perfect? Seriously? So toxicity. Be careful, you guys. Be really careful. So I'm going to pull a couple of cards as well from Ganesh, Whispers of Lord Ganesh, Angela Hartfeld. I have like huge statues of Ganesh in my place. For those of you, who know me and been to my place, I have a lot of very large statues. I have a very large Ganesh statue. It's so heavy to lift. Like when I move, that's a box for the movers. Not, I can't pick it up. It's very heavy, right? It's one of my favorite statues. I have a huge Buddha statue. It's like, what, 5 feet tall? But anyways, I'm not going to ramble on. So what is the message from Lord Ganesh from the 29th to the 6th? Ganesh helps you overcome obstacles. What is the message? Wow. Spiritual practice. Jenny, what's my spiritual practice? I would start off meditating every day. How do I meditate? There's so many different ways to meditate. It's not just one way. Okay, so look at the background, right? If I went here, or if I was here, let's say, I could just sit back and close my eyes, because does it look busy? No. Go to an environment. If it's in your own home, turn off your phones, your TVs, all of that thing. Be in a quiet space to meditate. You could meditate when you're driving. You could meditate like listening to music. You could meditate, like there's so many different ways, but it very well comes down to that quiet space. Stop overthinking. Listen to a guided meditation, perhaps, like listen to music or just sit in silence. Like I will purposely sit, I get messages coming through all the time, right? But it's like, okay, spirit, I'm open to receive messages, the good, the bad, and the ugly, right? Don't force it at all. Just, it takes time. Meditation is a practice, that takes time. Same as the thing as a spiritual practice. A lot of people, when they get more involved in a spiritual awakening, they can feel very lonely or alone. Oh my God, Jenny, I like the people I used to hang out with. Oh my God, I just don't connect. Yes, because you're evolving, you're on different paths. You're not saying you're better than anybody else. You're just on two different paths. That's all. Your spiritual practice could be doing yoga in the morning or throughout the day. Your spiritual practice could be meditating. You're like, there's so many different ways to do that. Go on what feels right for you. Go on your own rhythm. Nobody has any righteousness or right to say you're doing it wrong. I actually took a class many years ago, once upon a time, and the teacher, I didn't really care for the teacher, but of course I didn't judge or anything, but I'm like, one of the people in the classes, were saying, wow, like I'm seeing this in my meditation. And the teacher's like, no, you're not seeing that correctly. And I'm like, oh my, are you kidding me? You're not a teacher. You are not a teacher. Like, are you kidding me? You're judging that person and you're telling this person what they're seeing is wrong. Oh my God. Don't get me started, but you know what I'm saying? Like there's different people we'll connect with and so on and so on. You have to listen and hear your own inner truth. Like, don't get me started. That's what I'm saying. So anyways, I'm going to pull up a card here from the Past Life deck by Doreen Virtue, because there's a lot of past life memories coming up as well. There's a lot of, from once upon a time ago, another lifetime, which I do Akashic Records readings. And there's also past life memories coming up, as I mentioned, from your childhood, teenage days, all certain memories surfacing. So let's see what the universe has to say to you from the 29th to the 6th of June. Make sure you guys like my video and click like and leave me some comments. What's going on? May 29th to the 6th of June. What's coming up here? 26, too many. May 29th to the 6th of June. What memories are coming up? What past life? What situations? What message? Collectively, do we need to hear? Spouse. This isn't a relationship deck. This is so spouse. Look at that. And we were in, like the Venus Chiron energy, and I was talking about relationships. Like, wow, there's no coincidence here. So, have a chat with your spouse. Maybe some of you are getting married, as I mentioned. Maybe, especially during that new moon, if you watch my video, there was some reunions. There was some soulmate reunions. There could be endings and new beginnings and so on and so on. Go back and watch my other video. You'll get all that information, right? So some of you very well during this time could be getting married. Some of you, like, you know what I'm saying? Look at that. Like, when spirit has messages, believe me, it comes through. It really comes through. Oh, now I'm going to talk to this. We're going to have a little chat to the animals. Whispers of the Ocean and Angela Hartfelt. Oh, and by the way, you guys, for some of you who have asked me about my tarot cards and my books and so on and so on, I actually donated them all. I do that a lot. I donate stuff. Some of the decks were brand new. Some of the decks I bought brand new were $60, right? I donated almost 40 decks, tarot decks, plus books that like brand new and everything, right? So, it's like there's people out there that want to learn how to use cards, for instance, and they're like, wow, I don't have the $60 or $50. Some decks you can buy for 20, 30. They're all different prices depending on the deck. I don't have that. So when I donate that, whatever that place sells it for, which is going to not be a brand new price, maybe it's going to be like, wow, I can actually afford that. Oh my God, there's a deck I can use. Yes, because it truly helps somebody move forward and so on, right? And that brings me happiness and peace. We've all been there where we're like, I don't have the money to do this, and when I donate a lot of stuff, I don't expect like, well, you owe me that now, or no, I don't. I don't. There's so much suffering in our world. There truly is, and there's a lot of people out there who don't have anything. That's why with me, I am so grateful for the simplest things, the smallest things, like so incredibly grateful. Kindness, so much, so much. So let's have a chat with the animals. I talk to your animals who are here and present and who have passed on. I consider animals, all animals, from a giraffe to a shark to a dog to an ant. I just consider them all animals, no matter if they're mammals or, like all of that, reptiles. May 29th to the 6th of June. What is the message from our animal kingdom? You guys can't hold back your feelings and that, like, it'll suppress, and you don't want to hold back this week, believe me. So, too many cards. What's the message from our animal kingdom? What's the message from our animal kingdom, the 29th to 6th of June? I just said shark. This is not a shark deck. This is, like, believe me, all animals. Persistent drive. See what you desire and move toward the goal. Yes, don't hold back this week, you guys. Don't suppress. This is a week to not suppress the situation. It is the time to zero in on your purpose. Use your intuition and instincts to guide you for optimal outcome. Take a look at that. This is where things are headed towards. Can you make this happen? Where are your goals? So let's move forward. I have somebody at my door, and I will talk to you later. Bye.